Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a stock that I recently found that's a little bit smaller, but they might be presenting a really good buying opportunity right now. And that company is Darling Ingredients. And we can see this company is up 3% in the same time period that the market is down about 11%. And they're also beating out the market in the 5-year chart. S&P 500 is up about 50% over the last year, while Darling Ingredients is up about 300%. So what is Darling Ingredients? Well, essentially, this is their website right here, and we can see that their main product line tends to revolve around renewable ingredients, sustainable ingredients for different industries, such as the food industry, the agricultural industry, and also the fuel industry. And I actually found an article right here from Yahoo Finance that points out that they have about 270 facilities across 17 nations, and they recycle about 15% of waste streams from the meat industry into high value products. So they're basically turning waste into sustainable products for the different industries that I just talked about. And also we can see right here that they believe that a good price target for Darling Ingredients would be about $102 per share, which, I mean, if Darling Ingredients were to reach $102 per share, that would be an increase in their share price of about 50% from where they're currently trading. So they could be presenting a really interesting buying opportunity at the moment. Also keep in mind, this company's market capitalization is only $11 billion. So they are definitely a smaller company in the stock market, meaning they could maybe potentially have a lot of room to grow in the future. And so right here, we see their financial statements. This is their balance sheet for October 1st, 2022 compared to January 1st, 2022. And we can see that during that time period, total assets have increased from $6.1 billion to about $8.8 billion. And then majority of their business financed by liabilities compared to equity. We can also see the retained earnings line item has increased from $2.3 billion to $2.9 billion, so by about $500 to $600 million of an increase over the last 3 quarters here. We can also see this is their income statement, and they're comparing their third quarter results for October 2022 to October 2021. Over that time period, net sales are up from $1.1 billion to $1.7 billion, and net income is also up from $148 million to $192 million. So they've experienced an increase in revenue, sales, and earnings in the last year or so, when a lot of customers and a lot of economists have basically been talking about a potential recession. And we can also see that the stock market is down about 11%. So they are doing pretty well in the last year or so, even though the overall economy is a little bit shaky and uncertain at the moment. And so if I go to page 8 right here, we can see their cash flow statement for 2022 compared to 2021, the first 9 months. And we can see during that time period, operating cash flow was up from $452 million to $638 million. And we can also see they're repurchasing more common stock in 2022 compared to 2021. 2021, they repurchased about 97 million in the first 3 quarters, and in 2022, they've repurchased about a little over 100 million in the first 3 quarters. And of the 100 million, about 37 million of that was repurchased in the 3rd quarter. So potentially they might purchase more in the 4th quarter, which would obviously reduce the amount of shares outstanding and potentially increase the share price for their company's stock, which would add more value to previous shareholders here. And so now we can see this discounted cash flow model I've prepared for Darling Ingredients. Yahoo Finance is basically estimating that they believe this company is going to grow at around 42% for the next 5 years. So I brought that down to 21% for the next 5 years after that. They had about $430 million worth of free cash flow in 2021, with about $3 billion of debt on their balance sheet at the moment, and about 160 million shares outstanding at the moment, putting their intrinsic value per share at around $160 per share, with a 50% margin of safety of $180 per share, which means that Darling Ingredients, based on those projected growth rates, is currently trading below a 50% margin of safety relative to their intrinsic value per share. So stock price is up 300% over the last 5 years, up 3% over the last year, outperforming the S&P 500. We saw that they had increased sales and earnings over the last year or so, and both Yahoo Finance from their analysts' perspective here at a $102 price target, with some of their projected growth rates as well, both putting this company at below intrinsic value per share, below a 50% margin of safety at the moment. So definitely be interested to see where this company goes from here. But on the right side, I also did a competitor analysis comparing them to some of their competitors, particularly Molson Coors Beverage, Albertsons, and Service Corporation International. We can see that in comparison to a couple of the bigger players in their industry, they don't really have a good gross profit margin, actually bottom of the pack here. But in terms of net profit margin, it's second highest. So although their cost of goods sold is higher than some of the other companies, their operating expenses are clearly a lot lower because they have higher bottom line profit in comparison to two of the companies that have higher gross profit margins. And then lastly, their return on assets is the highest out of the four companies at 11%, with second and third place coming in at only about 5%. So they are utilizing their assets a bit more efficiently to get a return on their business. But in comparison to the rest of the industry, it looks like Darling Ingredients is pretty competitive in terms of net profit margin and return on assets. And then if we go on to the left side here, obviously the growth rates are a little optimistic for my liking personally. I tend not to really believe growth rates that are this high, especially for a company that is competing in like the food and agricultural industry. Seems a little high for my liking, so I would probably do a little bit more due diligence for me personally. But obviously these are the estimates coming from Yahoo Finance, and based on these estimates, Darling Ingredients is trading below a 50% margin of safety at the moment, and their stock price obviously has outperformed the market over the last year. So it'll be interesting to see where this company goes from here. It was actually pretty difficult to find companies that are trading below intrinsic value per share at the moment. And so this was one of the rare ones that I did find, and it's a pretty small company, so definitely a lot of growth potential. Not sure where it's going to go from here, but let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this company. And also let me know if there are any other companies that you guys are tracking in the stock market that you think might be interesting to look into or do a little bit more research into. Let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see everyone in the next one.